I lived in Spring Creek, Texas. Worked a pretty good sized little farm and ranch there. Down a quarter of a mile down the street was his brother, his older brother, that had the same kind of setup. It was a farm and ranch, and that was pretty popular at the time. They did farming and raised their own cattle and things like that. In 1931, they were getting ready for an unusual situation. Jewel, actually the wife of Frank, and they were about to have a baby. Said she'll never forget, she wrote 8 days before that baby was born, she rode horseback. And she said it was too late. She hadn't done that. Too late to stop, but she felt fine, so they went ahead and rode the horses. And the twin mares, they went riding. Gotta remember, they're young, tough people. They never thought about things like that. Next thing you know, and about a week later, she's having trouble getting ready, but not really having trouble, but getting ready to make sure the baby was born correctly and everything. Talked to the doctor, and when we went to, I wasn't there, I wasn't born yet, so it was really ready for it. They had coffee that they'd bought up, purchased, and tea, because they figured they'd be up some. So and the doctor is over in Seymour, Texas, which is about 25 miles from Spring Creek. Frank and Joe lived. They lived in a house that is what we call a clapboard house. That they put up two boards together, then they put a small one in. Instead of buttoning them up or anything like that, they put a little lath right down between those two boards. And that's the way they built the outside of the house. And it had a porch that was on the north side, because in the summer it always gets hotter than Bristol. So that's why they put it on the north side. Porches also facing the road. Then they had a little porch about 8 feet long and about 4 feet deep, which is a bench kind of like on the back porch by the kitchen. And then the men would come in and sit up on this little porch with a bench, put their coffee up on there. In the evening they'd come in and work while the supper's being fixed down there in our house, and also Elsa's house down the road, which is only about a half mile away. So they lived in this place. It had the bedroom, I remember later, was papered in newspapers. And they put up newspapers and they would read the stories later, sometimes. But that was one way to paper the house, the bedroom, because they could read them, so they put them up. They didn't have any wallpaper, so they put up, newspapers were pretty popular. There weren't very many newspapers. They'd only get about one a week. And they would take those newspapers and paper that room. And then finally, I guess they got it filled up. I don't think they papered all the rest of the rooms, just the bedroom. It was a good sized bedroom, bigger than this. And then Elsa would come over once in a while, and they'd sit on the porch and smoke. And Elsa smoked heavier than Dad. Dad smoked with him once in a while, but Dad never carried anything but, anyway, it was real light tobacco. A lot of people smoke Bull Durham and Dukes. And Daddy bought this light stuff. He'd smoke with them once in a while. And he never did smoke a whole lot. But Elsie did, smoked a lot. The name of the tobaccos at that time was Bull Durham, the Dukes. What was popular was Bull Durham, and I had them all there, two of them. Dukes, Bull Durham, they were all sack tobacco, by the way. And they rolled their own. When I was about 2 years old, they got a cigarette roller where they could roll them. And what they'd do, they'd roll them, they'd lick them, put them away. box or something like that. Dad was never a very big smoker. We each not chewing tobacco. And that's, some of them would choose, they'd keep it around, but Dad never used it. They had it there anyway. They had beech nuts, chewing tobacco. They had some Dukes and Bull Durham. Dukes is not really too bad. Bull Durham was tough. Funny, I remember all those things. And anyway, they played the dominoes somewhere in the evening, either at the house down at Ellis's, which is only a quarter of a mile, maybe a half a mile, and they'd walk down there, and they'd walk up to see us. And they didn't, they had vehicles, but they were old vehicles. Actually, I think Daddy's had to start with a crank. And that was when the Chevrolet, that's a Ford, T-model Ford. He started with a crank. He had one that was kind of like a pickup. It was older, and he used it for down in the fields and around like that. And they'd go to town, they'd use the other one, had another one, and that was a Chevrolet, and had a rumble seat. Early Chevrolet, 1930, Chevrolet, and had a rumble seat. Kids always want to ride in that back rumble seat. You know, pull that thing out and you sit down like this, and it's a softer seating up there. But the wind would blow you. But they never drove over 16 to 20 miles, so it never went very far. It was a fun trip. And we'd sing songs and stuff like that. If somebody else was coming to visit with me, we would. That was later. But they did have this 2 vehicles, which is pretty good, you know, for that time. They had a pickup and they had a car, a T-model, but it was a T-model. It was not a very expensive car. But Dad liked them because he could work on them. You know what they used when the bearings just start wearing out? They'd use Ryan, from Bacon Ryan, you know, and they would put that in there in place of it, and it'd last a while. And they were easy to take apart. They'd go down, and what they used that for was, it had a stick on the transmission here, shifter gear, and that's what they were. That's where they put it. That thing would wear out, so they put that pork rind down there, fresh, in place of rings and stuff, and it lasts a good while. And then they'd have to do it again. But they did, and also one of the first things I remember was they had a big old vat, I called it. What it was is made for syrup. And every year they raised he raised a certain amount of cane every year, and I went to town and bought cases of plain cases of half-gallon cans, and he would take it and hook this mule up. Now, I need to draw this, you know. Sometime I will talk about this. They'd hook this mule, and he'd go round and around and around like that. Once he got started, he just kept going around. And got tired, he stopped. They'd let him rest, and give him a drink of water or whatever, you know. Fed him a little bit, whatever. They were taking this cane. They grew about 10 acres of cane.
Sugar cane?
Huh?
Sugar cane?
Sugar cane, yeah. To make syrup out of. Then they would, I don't know, probably 30 acres of cane, because he took a lot of us to town. And he would go through the trouble of growing that cane and then run it through there, and it would pour out down here. They just stick a bucket under it and put a lid on it and take it down and sell it for 50 cents. They were pretty good farmers. They did a lot of good stuff. They had the cattle down one end, and they had the farm work up the other, and then in between them they had a big old area where they grew cotton, and cotton was a good crop. They'd pull their cotton and somebody else's cotton and everything else, and then all go to take it to and some Seymour, they would take it to the So they'd build these platforms out in front of this area where they took it to the wholesalers and sell it to them. And they'd sell it out of the wholesale market. That's how they did it. I don't know why they call it that. They call it wholesale. But anyway, they had one in Albany and they had one in Seymour. And they would take different times of the year. It was better to sell one than the other. And also, in that same building, you know what they had? They'd go hunting, like fox and like wolves, skunks and possum. And they would hunt them down with dogs and they shoot them and then skin them. And they would take and run that skin over a thing that they had made and stretch it over it. And when they go to town, see, they get a better price for what their skins, because they stretch on this little piece of wood that they were. So they were farmers and they were hunters. Now Uncle Carl lived across the county from us, and he was the state hunter. If they got a bunch of, and he had a lot of dogs, he had a half dozen dogs, over one or two that are really good. I remember old Abe was one that they used a lot, and because he trained all the other dogs. They would do it in the fall. They'd go hunting, catch these animals, and shoot them. Because if the dogs ever got a hold of them, they'd tear them apart. So they would shoot the animal and take him away, and then they would skin him, sell it at these platforms out back where they sold some hay, you know, bales of hay, stuff like that, and corn and barrels of corn and all kinds of stuff. It was a wholesale place, is what they called it. Take these animals that were stretched, and they dry, and the pelts would bring so much, 50 cents, $2, $3 each.
Thank you so much for watching Who's Red. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and be sure to click on the notification bell so you can be the first to know when Who's Red drops a new video.